Today, we turn our attention to The Stranger, a provocative novel penned by Albert Camus in 1942 that has both confounded and fascinated readers for generations. The book serves as a cornerstone of existentialist philosophy, asking us to confront uneasy questions about morality, human emotion, and the ultimate quest for meaning in a universe that appears indifferent to our concerns. The Stranger unfolds in two parts, providing a detailed look at the life of Meursault, a French-Algerian man residing in Algiers. Meursault's initial utterance regarding the death of his mother is marked by an almost disconcerting emotional neutrality. Instead of being entangled in grief or the usual social rituals that accompany death, he focuses on logistical matters and demonstrates an apparent apathy towards the passing of his mother. Shortly thereafter, he dives into a physical relationship with his girlfriend Marie and nurtures a friendship with Raymond, a man of dubious moral standing. The initial backdrop of the story is set during the funeral of Meursault's mother. The scorching heat of the sun permeates this setting, contributing to a sense of heavy, oppressive atmosphere that foreshadows later events. In stark contrast to what would be culturally expected, Meursault displays a peculiar detachment throughout the proceedings. His emotional disengagement not only affects his perception of death, but also has ramifications for his relationships. For example, Marie is clearly perplexed when Meursault fails to give a straightforward answer to whether he loves her or not. His lack of commitment to emotions is also apparent in his relationship with Raymond, an involvement that eventually leads to a violent confrontation with some Arab men. The first part of the narrative concentrates largely on the events and interactions in Meursault's quotidian life. However, the second part opens with a moment that dramatically alters the course of his life. It is another day at the beach, but this day turns out to be fateful. Meursault and Raymond cross paths once more with the group of Arab men they had previously encountered. In a perplexing and spontaneous act, intensified by the blistering sun and what might be characterized as existential confusion, Meursault pulls out a gun and kills one of the Arab men. Subsequently, Meursault finds himself arrested and subjected to the machinery of the criminal justice system. During the trial, what is striking is that he is judged less for the actual act of murder and more for his failure to conform to societal norms of emotional expression. His seemingly indifferent response to his mother's death becomes a key point of argument in the case. Both his defense and the prosecution become less focused on the murder and more on Meursault's unconventional emotional reactions and moral indifference. The court, reflecting the broader societal norms, is unsettled by Meursault's lack of traditional human sentiments, ultimately finding him guilty and sentencing him to death by the guillotine. In the final chapters, Meursault is confined to a prison cell, where he confronts the existential realities of his impending death. From initial despair, his emotional journey transforms into an acceptance of the absurdity and indifference of the universe. When a chaplain visits him to discuss religious repentance, Meursault rejects these overtures. Instead, he embraces the meaningless chaos of existence, achieving a state of peaceful acceptance as he prepares to meet his end. Albert Camus's The Stranger is a rich tapestry of existential thought, defying traditional moral categories and questioning the structures that society uses to impose meaning on human life. Meursault acts as a focal point through which the themes of existential nihilism are explored. His emotional detachment is not a mere character flaw, but a representation of a philosophical outlook that questions the value of societal norms and emotional conventions. The sensory elements, like the unrelenting sunlight, the physicality of the sea, and the atmosphere, contribute to a sense of existential angst and chaos. They amplify the emotional dissonance within Meursault, acting as allegorical extensions of his internal world. The oppressive heat on the day of the murder serves as an existential metaphor, creating an overwhelming atmosphere that precipitates Meursault's senseless act. The courtroom scenes serve as an incisive critique of the legal and moral constructs that society relies on to enforce its norms. Meursault is put on trial less for the act of taking a life and more for his failure to display the emotional responses that society deems appropriate. This judicial process uncovers a disturbing reality: society's desperation to impose order and moral coherence even where it may not naturally exist. In wrapping up, Albert Camus, The Stranger is an invaluable contribution to literature and philosophy alike, engaging the reader in existential questioning and the complexities of human emotion. It functions as an allegory that encourages us to confront the uncomfortable truth about societal structures and the human condition. that beneath the surface lies a reality that is chaotic, irrational, and fundamentally indifferent. Meursault, as unsettling as he may be, serves as a mirror reflecting this difficult reality. If you found this discussion enriching and would like to explore more enlightening analyses of literature, philosophy, and various facets of human existence, do consider subscribing to this channel. Your support enables the continual examination of works that probe the depths of human thought and culture. Thank you for listening, and until our next intellectual exploration, continue questioning the constructs that shape your world.